All right, here we go. It is time. It is 9 o'clock Eastern on Monday, July 31st. I've been saying the wrong month all week and screwed everything up for everybody. I'm not trying to do it. I'm a noob. What can you say? This is Junk Wax Genius. I've got a box here of 1990 Score Major League Baseball in the stretchy plastic. And we're going to rip it. We're going to rip it. We're going to talk about the whole thing. Instead of 2 packs tonight, we're going to do all 36 in this pristine yellow, beautiful, in quotation marks, Score baseball cards. So let's see what we get. Maybe we'll get a Bo Jackson. You might know, man, this is in there tight. Bought the box 2 weeks ago from a card show here in the Raleigh-Durham area at the State Fairgrounds. Found a good deal on it, decided, hey, let's get it. Maybe we'll find a Bo. I knew this was coming up, so we've got a little thing to try here. So these are packed in. I have not, hopefully this is not a sign. I mean, I've had cards brick before. I don't think I've ever had the actual packs brick before. So hopefully, you know, the plastic is taking the hits and the cardboard inside is all good. So we'll kind of push that aside. We'll open up some packs and we will we'll look around. The cards we're looking for, we've got the Bo Jackson shoulder pads card, the black and white kind of iconic one that looks like a Nike poster. That's really the big hit here. Also, I personally collect, I PC Will Clark. So we'll be on the lookout for some Will the Thrill as well. We've got Walt Weiss, Greg, is it Gagne or Gagne? I always say Gagne, but you know, I don't know for sure. Jamie Moyer, Mike Devereaux, Scott Bradley, Mike Gallego, our Magic Motion card, and just toss those aside. There's a Chuck Knobloch first-round draft pick. You get, you know, Score's got all these colorful borders. We went through the greens, the reds. The white border is what we're going to look for because that's the Bo Jackson card. You only get one of those in each pack, though, and that makes it a little harder to find. So there's Chuck Knobloch, Greg Brock, Jay Tibbs, Rick Russell, Tim Cruz, Henry Cotto, Geronimo Baroa, Pete Harnish, John Smoltz, nice, and Mark Gardner. One pack down, and no bricking. You know, these don't have the gloss of some of the other cards of the era. I guess 1990, still not talking the glossy, but 91 Stadium Club, horrible, forget about it. You get into like like I've opened 1994 Stadium Club on this channel that just are totally stuck together. Tom Foley, Mike Scott was good in the day, Lance Parrish, Dennis Powell, Alan Anderson, Pat Borders, another Magic Motion card. Alan Zinter is our white border, the immortal Alan Zinter. There's Luis Quinones, Tom Glavine. You know, I think, chasing cards, I do think Frank Thomas's rookie is in here. I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? Wallace Johnson, Al Newman. I hope we find out. I mean, it'd be kind of a stinker if we didn't. If we do all of this and we don't get one of those. But we will see. Let's see, do I need to cut it? Are these going to actually open? Here's the thing. Instead of like getting brittle, they get stretchy. And, you know, it's great for them to be tamper-proof, but they're also essentially like open-proof as well. And I don't want to be spending everybody's valuable time peeling plastic, he says as he peels plastic. All right, we got Willie Wilson, Alvaro Espinoza, and everybody gives Chris Sabo a hard time for the glasses he chose to wear. And, you know, you get guys like Alvaro Espinoza, Tom Brookins, Ron Kittle, just wearing regular glasses, and everybody gives him a hard time. I think Sabo was onto something. Alan Trammell, Rick Honeycutt, Greg Briley. There's Tom Brookins, speaking of. He's got his flip-up shades, so all good there. Another Magic Motion card. Our white borders is Earl Cunningham, first-round pick. There's Paul Molitor, Roger McDowell, Gene Harris, Jim Deshaies, Tom Hinkie, Jose Canseco, Mike Hartley. It's a little disorienting. I love like horizontal photography in Stadium Club, right? Because they could also change the format of the card itself. But when this guy's like, when his name is still at the bottom instead of like being along the side to make it the whole horizontal experience, it doesn't sit right. Seems kind of weird. Luis de los Santos and Ken Daly round out that pack. We got Canseco. Nice full color backs on these two. The big score photo with the bio. I like the information Score gives. It's not the single line of information, the data that you get from like your stadium clubs or your more premium outputs, and it's not the tiny little fine print of tops. But we'll take it. Back when actual baseball cards were like the leading source of information about baseball players, and you couldn't just like Google somebody and have their bio come up for you in 8 seconds. Somebody did mention that cutting the packs open is less likely to damage the cards. I agree, but we're not really here for pristine condition. As I like to say, PC, not PSA. But it would be a shame if I were to mess up mess up the Frank Thomas. There's another Alan Trammell and another Alvaro Espinoza. There's Ozzie Guillen, Greg Briley again, Tom Brookins. This looks familiar. Our trivia card here. There's Joe Morgan. A little factoid about Joe Morgan. Can we get this to focus? Just the way he stood at the plate, flipping his left arm like a penguin. So there you go. Some information about Joe Morgan, your National League MVP in the year of our Lord, 1976. You got Mike Scott in the Dream Team, the right-handed pitcher. I didn't know they went righty-lefty. Paul Molitor again. This is like a repeat of a pack we just visited. Geronimo Baroa, Jim DeShays, Smoltz again. So we're like 4 packs in. We're already on 2 John Smoltz and 2 Jose Cansecos. There's Rob Deere, the slugger of his day. Greg Vaughn, Todd Zeal, and Matt Marullo. Rob Deere would have been a billionaire in today's major leagues, like pioneering the concept of the 2 true outcomes. You either hit a home run or you strike out. The guy had all the power in the world, but could not avoid the strikeouts. Mercifully, they don't list that stat among his counting stats here. Batting average, though, 210. Says all you need to know. Still, though, that guy and his approach to the game, he would have been a billionaire in today's Major League Baseball. He hits a home run or he doesn't. That's what everybody's going for. Next time, note to self, I'm going to pick packs that are easier to open. A little variety here. We got Brady Anderson now, Von Hayes, Glenn Davis, our National League MVP, 1985. 1985, Willie McGee. See, the opposite of that, speed. Willie McGee had the speed. He didn't hit home runs. Ryan Sandberg is our dream teamer. There's Tom Glavine, Wallace Johnson, Ramon Martinez, Mike LaValliere, Mark Parent, Carmelo Castillo, Greg Hibbard, Jeff Brantley, Darren Dalton, Paul Sorrento, Mike Munoz, and Sammy Sosa. I barely recognize the guy. He's so slim and trim. Brady Anderson, he gets some wicked sideburns. He didn't really get them, though, until like the mid-90s. Brady, he could have been a trailblazer, but I think he had to wait for like Luke Perry to make them cool on 90210 before Brady Anderson felt like he could. Or maybe he needed like that major league cred. Maybe he was too young a player to do something so flashy as to have wild sideburns in the mid-90s, and you don't want to upset the vets on the club by being like a showboat rookie, right? There's Dewey Evans, speaking of mustaches. Brian Harvey, speaking of mustaches. Hey, if you haven't played Mustache, Beard, or Nothing, the Junk Wax game show kids ask for by name, this is not a bad set. Dwight Evans and Brian Harvey would be on the mustache team. Chris Bosio, nothing. Okay, can anybody name the American League MVP in 1931? A Yankee, maybe? Lefty Grove. Now you know. Kirby Puckett, part of our dream team. Roger McDowell would be nothing. Gene Harris, we're going to call that mustache. Joey Meyer, mustache. Tom Henke, nothing. Jerry Bones, mustache. Julio Franco, I'm going to say mustache, and we'll go to the back picture for a tiebreaker, mustache. There's Willie Randolph, mustache. Dave Stewart, definitely mustache. Randy Johnson, nice card. Team mustache all the way. I'm going to say mustache wins this pack, and Randy Johnson goes on the keeper pile. Brian Holman, Kevin Apier rookie card, and Tommy Green rookie. By the way, no offense if I don't put some guy you really like on the pile. Just moving through, trying to keep a couple stacks from getting too tall. Do some more. Always nice to get that Randy Johnson. These cards just kind of pop up as a surprise. One of those guys, like, if you opened this in 1990, you might not have really cared that you got Randy Johnson. So opening it now, 33 years later, you really appreciate some of the guys you might have overlooked back in the day. There's Mike Scott again, Lance Parrish, Herm Winningham, Alan Anderson, Pat Borders losing his lid, Terry Steinbach, our dream team catcher, Luis Quinones, Dave Gallagher, Rene Gonzalez, Danny Heap, John Dobson, Jeff Ballard, Randy Myers, Jose Vizcaíno, Kelly Mann, and Tom Barrett. The bricked packs themselves. Only in 1990. Well, probably not only in 1990 score. I haven't opened like a fresh box of 1988. They've had an extra 2 years to really stick and ferment on a shelf somewhere. We got Todd Benzinger, Chris Sabo. There you go. Speaking of the rec specs, the cool glasses, he knew what he was doing. His stood the test of time. Darnell Coles, Tim Laudner, Darrell Evans, MVP. And hey, there's my man. There's Will Clark, our dream team first baseman. Bob Guerin, Alvin Davis, Kevin Brown, Charlie Huff. Can you guess his grip? Can you guess the grip? They should have made a card with Randy exploding that bird. Yeah. I can understand why maybe Topps would, or any company would shy away from capturing that moment and putting it out there. But yeah, definitely a visual moment that a lot of us will never, ever forget. Nice to get the Will Clark Dream Team card. He's going to go in a separate pile. A little honorific from me to Will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to show Charlie Huff throwing a knuckleball, just like you have to show Brett Butler bunting, and maybe like Vince Coleman or Willie McGee on the base paths. I'm pretty sure that's like a visual language of baseball cards to talk about these players. There's John Farrell, Chuck Krim, Rex Hudler, our MVP card, American League MVP 1955, Yogi Berra. Wade Boggs, who is very much alive, Jerry Reed, Scott Sanderson, Tom Gordon, Ron Hassey, Tom Browning, Bobby Bonilla. There's Ricky Henderson running. You're not just going to have him like standing in batting practice with a bat on his shoulder. You're going to show Ricky Henderson exploding down the baseline. There's Jeff Montgomery, Chuck Finley, Stan Belinda, and his glasses, Kevin Blankenship, and Jeff Fisher. Just sick stats. Triple-digit stolen bases 3 different times. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What would that be like in today's game? Unbelievable. Don't run. We can't bat you in with a home run if you get picked off. I mean, I understand the math. I understand they're doing all this analytics and working out the percentages and everything. But, man, I would rather watch Ricky Henderson steal 3 bases in a game like Ellie De La Cruz. That's the kind of player I would rather watch than a guy who might hit a home run or will probably strike out. There's Milt Thompson, Dave Magadan, Gerald Young, Steve Buechele, Edgar Martinez, speaking of Team Mustache. Clay Parker. Our World Series, 89 World Series card, Game 1 and Game 2. Dave Stewart and was that Bob Welch? Mike Morgan kept the Giants in check. Nasty forkball. Okay. R.J. Reynolds, Nelson Santavina, Don Robinson, Wally Joyner, Dave Gallagher, Bill Kruger, Willie McGee. All right. Not running. But Dave Justice. Nice rookie card. Would have been very excited to get that one in 1990. I should keep everything on screen. I don't want anybody accusing me of like switching things off screen. Not that that would happen, but it's like Vegas rules. You got to keep your hands in front of the camera at all times. Got to stay in view. Otherwise, who knows what kind of shenanigans we're getting up to. There's Ken Caminiti, Don Slott, Tony Fernandez, Hubie Brooks, Wally Backman, Leaping, Kevin Bass, 1978 American League MVP. Is it George Brett? Nope, Jim Rice. There's Wade Boggs, a 1989 highlight card. What did Wade Boggs do to deserve a highlight? 200 hits. Good for him. Cal Daniels, Dan Quisenberry on the follow-through, Harold Baines, Dave Steeb, Kevin Seltzer, Kevin Seitzer, Willie Frazier, Scott Coolbaugh, Matt Kinzer, and Blaine Beatty. Okay. On to the next. So appreciate you all for kind of joining in on the live stream here. We're in pursuit of the Bo Jackson insert card. Frank Thomas has allegedly a rookie card in this set as well. We'll discover. And we've already found the Will Clark Dream Team card, and we're going to rip the rest of a box of 1990 score. I should mention before we get too far into it, I've got a box to give away. If you are a public subscriber, if I can see that you are subscribed to my channel, I've got a box of 1990 Donruss to give away to somebody. We're going to randomly pick one of y'all subscribers who are publicly visible. And this is the set that has the sweepstakes. This win instantly version of the 1990 Donruss is much more likely to have the error cards, your reverse negatives, your Tom Glavine switched out for John Smoltz on the team MVP card, your all-star cards with all the variations. So somebody, as I like to say, the grand prize is a $10 box of baseball cards. Greg Minton, Dave Smith, thank you for subscribing. This is in recognition of 100 subscribers. I know it's kind of a weird milestone, a minor one, but it starts with one, builds to 100, and we go on from there. Here's Oral Hershiser. I've heard some superstition about Oral and his pregame rituals when he was having his scoreless inning streak, allegedly, and this has been litigated on Twitter. There's a grocery store in the Southwest called Corb Torson's that sells something, I don't know what, called a cactus loaf, and allegedly Oral Hershiser would eat one of those, kind of like how Wade Boggs would eat chicken. Oral Hershiser would eat a cactus loaf from Corb Torson's because he thought it was good luck. I don't know. Don Paul, Oral himself weighed in and said that's not true, but I don't know. Carney Lansford, Juan Agosto. And there's our celebration. 1989 World Series. The A's sweep the Battle of the Bay. The Will Clark fan in me was really disappointed with that outcome, but good for the A's. There's Bill Spires, Darren Jackson, Mark Knudsen, Rene Gonzalez, Danny Heap, Wayne Tollison, Terry Jorgensen, Ken Griffey Jr. Good hit. We'll put him on the top. Rich Monteleone, last card. Didn't want to give Jr. all the glory, but you can't go wrong with Ken Griffey Jr. I'm going to move some of these aside. So we've got Will, we've got Jr., and let's put we'll put red bordered Ricky up there with them. We'll move the other guys off here to the side. Normally 2 packs. This is going to test my endurance. I did hydrate before this. I have abstained from alcohol for almost 24 hours. in anticipation. I had some orange juice, just orange juice, no vodka, no anything. And hopefully I can get through this without losing my voice. Mike Flanagan, Todd Burns, Claudel Washington. Another trivia card, there's Willie Green, Bill Landrum, Keith Moreland, Brian Fisher, Ken Patterson, Rance Mullenix, one of my favorite first names ever. Rance, however, could have taken a page out of Chris Sabo's eyewear playbook. There's Dave Steeb, Kent Herbeck, Lonnie Smith, Mark Langston, Jay Bell, Sandy Alomar Jr., nice card. I would have been very excited to get this one in 1990. And we end with Milt Kyler. Still pretty excited about that junior. Let's take a look here. What do we get? Well, not bad centering. I mean, like I'm ever going to submit any of these to PSA or any of the other ones, but pretty good. Hard to find these, especially the darker or the solid color borders, I should say, in those perfect, pristine conditions. White border's a little more forgiving, I guess, huh? Yeah, thanks, Junior. A good pull. Not who we're really after as a target card, but you know, certain guys are you can't turn your nose up and be like, oh, I only got Junior. There's Herm Winningham, Brady Anderson. We talked about him. Did we talk about? Yeah, he didn't have the sideburns yet here in 1990. Little upstart rookie. He only had a couple games under his belt. Might have been a little too showboaty for a guy like Brady to grow those out in 1990. Von Hayes, Glenn Davis, Mike Felder, Randy Milligan, Cal Eldred is our white border card, Ramon Martinez, Lee Mazzilli, Doug Jones, Randy Myers, Greg Hibbard, Jeff Brantley, Jeff Fisher, Randy Kutcher, and Jamie Navarro. Jaime? Jamie. I always said Jamie. Jaime? I don't know. I grew up in Ohio in a really, we'll call it a homogenous community. It's pretty white. And I didn't take Spanish either, so maybe it was Jaime, maybe it was Jamie. It was before I had ESPN, so I don't know. Another pack. We've got Glenn Braggs, John Franco, Guillermo Hernandez. I can say Guillermo, even though a lot of his cards used to call him Willie. Mike Lacasse. And trivia card, there's Greg Blosser. Greg Jeffries. Probably would have been excited to get that one in 1990. Andy Allenson, Mookie Wilson, Terry Steinbach, Harold Reynolds. Love the flip-up shades, man. That, and then how they transitioned into the Oakleys. Not a huge fan of the sunglasses of today, but those flip-ups and then the Oakley M-frames that were like all the rage in the mid-90s. Awesome. Tim Cruz. There's Big Mac, Mark McGuire, a red border card. He can go up there. Kirby Puckett, a couple hits in a row. Nice. Rafael Palmeiro, the other half of the Mississippi State duo with Will Clark. Randy Kutcher, and again, Jaime, Jamie, I don't know. Kirby and Mark back to back. That's exciting. Yeah, Greg Jeffries was like the hot card. I've got some 1989 tops that I'm working through. I've got 1988 Donruss. Jeffries has cards in both of those sets, and I would be I would be honestly as happy today as I would have been back in the day to find the card. There's Jose Canseco, our 1988 AL MVP. Dan Gladden, Larry Anderson, Randy Bush, Mitch Williams, Ben McDonald, and they mention his height. He was a tall dude. Kurt Young, Gary Wayne, Gary Ward. It's a Gary hot pack. Dale Mahorsich, Dave Spaghetti, Bud Black, Brent Smith, Steve Jeltz, Dwayne Ward, Mike Huff, and Juan Bell. If you're just joining us, some of these plastic packs have themselves bricked. The cards are just fine. There's no gloss to speak of on 1990 score cards. They're as kind of flat and cardboardy as Topps or Donruss or Fleer were in the time. No gloss to really brick these cards together like we have with Stadium Club or some of the upper decks from the early 90s. But the packs themselves, the plastic wrappers, sticking together. Dan Plesac, Jose Lean, looking almost balletic. Steve Lyons, Psycho. There's Paul Gibson, Mark Davis, Otis Nixon. There you go. More with the visual language of Rickey Henderson. Ripping the Jays. Jose Uribe. I'm glad I'm old enough to have seen him play in person. Like some of these guys, like Eric Davis, another guy. Watching him play in his prime was, I mean, he was like the, he was Bryce Harper and Juan Soto and Acuna Jr. and Ellie De La Cruz. Like Ellie De La Cruz is like the second coming watching him play of Eric Davis. Just the kind of electrifying threat to steal, threat to hit a home run, the kind of guy that I really appreciated being able to see in person. And I wish he had a longer, more productive career. Eric Davis, Bill Schroeder, Tony Armas, Jim Gantner, Mark Rosler, Dave Island, and Rick Rona. In fact, doesn't Ellie wear 44? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ellie's wearing 44. Let's see. Here we go. Another example here. The packs are bricked themselves. The cards come out once I can get through the plastic that has not gotten any less stretchy over time. I guess one of the blessings is there's no card dust. There's neither dust from gum nor from puzzle pieces. Donruss, I don't know what it was about their puzzle pieces, but just dust all over the place. And we're not going to talk about Topps gum. Rafael Ramirez, Dennis Martinez, Dick Schofield, Gene Larkin, double flapping it, Omar Vizquel. Liked watching him and the guy. So Felix Fermin kind of got Wally pipped by Omar Vizquel. When the Indians traded to get Omar, Felix left the building and nobody remembers him. They remember Omar Vizquel, arguably more for being an Indian than a Mariner. I don't know, maybe that's just my Ohio speaking again. Another A's highlight card from Game 3 of the World Series, 1989, Jay Buhner, Rick Aguilera, Mike LaValliere, Stan Javier, Chad Kruder, Rick Dempsey, Randy McCammett, Greg Vaughn, and Todd Zeile again. Now that's at least our second Todd Zeile. I was an Indians fan at the time and was very excited when they traded to get Omar Vizquel. I don't know if the trade was as well received at the time as I thought it should have been, but I was pretty excited to get him. Hey, there's our guy again, old Brady Anderson and his Don Mattingly sideburns. Mr. Burns, I don't know what you think sideburns are, but Von Hayes, Paul Gibson. Hi, Hunter. Thanks for joining the live stream. Nice to see you. Paul Coleman, Steve Wilson. We're ripping a box of 1990 score. There's Ron Kittle. We're looking for the Bo Jackson shoulder pads card. Tim Burke. Howard Johnson. Is he bunting? What is he doing? Mark Gubawakiza. There's Rolando Rooms. Sid Bream. Mike Davis. Robin Ventura. Goose Gazzo. All right. Is your name really Goose? I mean, I guess if your last name is Gazzo, it's close enough to Gossage. But if your name is also Gazzo and you're that close to Gossage, I think you have to get a different nickname. I can't believe Goose is that guy's given first name. And I'm going to be disappointed in everyone's creativity if that's the best nickname they could come up with. And Jeff Hewson, another example of the horizontal card that needed the entire layout shifted 90 degrees. We'll pause as we rip the next card here. We'll take a look at what what our Magic Motion card is. We'll see if anybody can call out what who the MVP was for this given year. We've got Eddie Murray. Eddie, I like to call him Two Hats. He's got a ball cap on under that helmet. Old Two Hats Eddie. There's Gerald Perry, Atlee Hammaker, Jerome Walton. Probably would have been excited to get that card in 1990. So here's our National League MVP, 1963. Any guesses? National League MVP, 1963. Sandy Koufax. I would have gotten it wrong. There's Donald Harris, Dave Dravecki. Oh, poor guy with his arm in the sling. Ooh. Joe Girardi, Eric Hansen, Darryl Strawberry. I definitely would have been excited to get Darryl in 1990. Brett Saberhagen, Juan Samuel, Les Lancaster, Lenny Dykstra, Ernie Whitt, Chip Hale, and Moises Alou. You forget he was a Pirate. I would not ever visualize Moises Alou wearing a Pirates uniform, but there he was. So we got Eddie Murray. Outlaws Generation. I do not have 1980 or 80 Topps or 86 Donruss. I kind of set a rules for myself that I would only open 1987 through 1994. It's kind of arbitrary, but you know, my channel, so I can do I can do whatever I want. Part of the reason for that is those 80 packs, those 86 Donruss are a little expensive for my coin, and it's just not what I grew up collecting. I didn't really get into the hobby until 86, when my parents got me the 1985 Topps set as a birthday present, because I knew at the time, and they were excited at the time, that it had the Eric Davis rookie card in it. We knew also that it had the Dwight Gooden rookie card, but it had Eric Davis. So that's what I was really excited about, and after, and why I wanted the 85 Topps set. And I didn't think twice about there being like, oh, I don't know, the Mark McGuire in there, the Kirby Puckett, the Roger Clemens, any of those other cards. So for me, it started in 85. So I might, if I can find affordable packs, do 85, 86. But I don't think I'd ever go all the way back to 1980 unless it was like a super special thing. Maybe, you know, never say never. Maybe if I get to some other milestone. Hey, look, there we go. We got it. Not even half a box in, and we hit it. We're there. It doesn't mean we're going to stop, but let's take a moment. Let's take a moment and enjoy. Good centering. Corners are looking good. There we go. Boo! What more do you need to say? We got it. All right. Well, we're going to keep going. There might be another one in there for all we know. Here's Pat Sheridan, David Wells, Domingo Ramos, Larry Sheets, Carmelo Martinez, Bob McClure, John Smiley, Glenn Wilson, Greg Walker, Dean Wilkins, and another poorly laid out horizontal card, Mike Smith. I don't know what that bow card is worth. If anybody knows, you know, take a minute, Google it while I'm ripping. Tell me what it might be worth raw or what it's worth in PSA. Let's guess 8. You know, worst case scenario, that might be an 8. I think I'd seen them going like in the kind of the pandemic boom, going for maybe $200, but I don't know. Would I rip a pack or box of 1994 Flair? I would consider that. You know, if I can find them for what I would consider a reasonable price. I also think about the checklists. Like I mentioned, Will Clark is my PC guy. I would prefer to find or rip sets that include Will Clark, preferably in a Giants uniform. So I'd have to take a second look. I'm pretty sure his 94 Flair, he's wearing a Rangers uniform. Doesn't mean it will never happen. Just means it might not be something that I really strive for. But good question. And I always I'm looking for variety all the time. Lou Whitaker. There's a man who deserves more recognition than he gets. Alan Trammell's getting a lot of recognition. Lou Whitaker deserves as much. There's Tommy Gregg, Vance Law, Felix Jose, Joe Carter, Kenny Rogers. Joe Carter would have been superstar had he not played in Cleveland. Poor guy. There's Nolan Ryan with the 1989 highlight card. I think he's tipping his hat after beating the crap out of Robin Ventura. No, that came later. 5,000 strikeouts was his 1989 highlight. Attaboy, Nolan. Good on you. Jim Gott, Mackie Sasser, Ron Robinson, Keith Hernandez, Team Mustache, Paul Kilgus, also on Team Mustache, Dave Clark, Ken Griffey Sr., looking good, Mike Morgan, and Billy Bates. Let's take a look at the back of Griffey Sr. here. Long career, distinguished career, and unfortunately he's going to be best known as Junior's dad. There's worse things. All right. Let's see, any more bricking of the packs? Yeah, not too bad. Like gravity takes care of it for me. I'm not feeling like I have to like pry these things apart with a hair dryer or get it next to the freezer for 30 seconds and see if that helps. But even pack fresh, you get the quality control here from 1990 score. Luis Salazar, not going to rank, buddy. Roberto Kelly, there's Jeff Treadway, Felix Fermin, Danny Tartable, Brett Butler, running, not bunting, but still tells the visual story of Brett Butler as a player. Let's go 1976 American League MVP. Did we do 76 American League already? Thurman Munson, the pride of Canton, Ohio. The Indians had a minor league team that played at Thurman Munson Stadium in Canton for a couple of years before they got wise and realized it was basically like a glorified high school park. Aluminum bleachers, really cheap, and not in a great part of Canton, Ohio. There's Barry Larkin, Roger McDowell, Gene Harris, Joey Meyer, Rich Gedman, Lloyd McClendon, Willie Randolph, Brian Dubois, Todd Stottlemyre, and speaking of Bo, our All-Star Game highlight card. Bo Jackson wins the MVP. Awesome display of power in his All-Star Game debut. Pretty nice. A couple really good Bo Jackson cards here for the Bo collectors. I grew to appreciate Bo the most, like probably a lot of people my age, as a Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl monster athlete video game character. There's Jeff Leonard, Pete Incaviglia, Kurt Stillwell, Andy McGaffigan, Steve Balboni, Dwight Gooden. Would have been excited to get that card. And there's Bo, part of our dream team again. Our left fielder, Vincent Bo Jackson. Here's Dave Johnson, Mike Smithson, Jim Eisenreich, Dave Stewart, Randy Johnson again. Back through the Team Mustache run. David Cohn, Gary Mielke. Sorry, Gary. There's Dion and Dean Palmer. There you go. Next to Bo Jackson, the best athlete in baseball. Pretty nice. So, a couple of two-sport athlete hits here in our 1990 score box. Should we call him Coach now instead of Primetime? Should I be excited that I pulled a Coach Sanders card? I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with that Colorado program. Excited for him. I hope the best for him and his team. There's Dale Murphy, underrated. Greg with 3 Gs, Olson. Jose Akendo, Ken Hill, Jay Howell, cousin Mickey Tetleton. There's Ricky Henderson, part of our dream team again. Mike Balecki, Odeby McDowell, cousin Terry Pendleton. We got both of them. There's Jeff Kunkel, Steve Finley, Frank Williams, Scott Coolbaugh, Matt Kinzer, and Blaine Beatty. I say that Pendleton, Appleton. That's a reference to, there's an old sitcom that ran on ABC called Perfect Strangers. This is how old I am. I remember it very well, about the naive and innocent cousin Balki Bartakamus from the fictional land of Mipos, who comes to live with his cousin Larry in Chicago. And in one episode, cousin Larry Appleton gets amnesia, and Balki has to remind him of his own name. And like 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure, of the half-hour episode is cousin Larry going, my name is cousin Larry Appleton. And it stuck with me. So every time I see it, I'm going to do it. And sorry. Andres Thomas, no, I'm not sorry. It's my channel. I'm going to do it. Chet Lemon, Dave Winfield. That's Johnny Ray. Another MVP card. We got Tony Gwynn on our dream team. Joey, don't call him Joey, call him Albert Bell. Pretty sure, yep, he played in Canton. Came up through Kinston, Waterloo, Kinston again, then Canton. Yep. Shawan Dunston, Fred Manrique, Damon Berryhill, Steve Lake, Ellis Burks, Mike Greenwell, Kevin Moss. That would have been a hot card in the day. Had he already hit those home runs? Not yet. He hadn't even debuted in the major leagues, but you know, he hit like 20 home runs in his first 50 games or something like that, and everybody thought for sure he was going to be the next Don Mattingly. Maybe the next Lou Gehrig even. He had high hopes, is what I'm saying, for Kevin Moss. Didn't really pan out. Not his fault. I'm sure he did the best he could. And he has at least one more major league home run than I do, so I'm not gonna make fun. Here's Dick Schofield, Joe Orsulak, bunting. It's a lost art. That's a motion called bunting. Tell your kids. Leon Bip Roberts, Jeff Russell. That's Beard, fully team Beard for Jeff Russell. Greg Harris, Derek Lilliquist, our 82 MVP. There's Greg Blosser again. We've got two of him at least. Still no Frank Thomas. Bill Landrum, Keith Moreland, Brian Fisher, Mike Lavalier, Mark Parent, Kent Herbeck again, Phil Stevenson, Carlos Quintana, and Scott Bankhead. Chasing cards. I was no kind of hitter. I just tried to get walks. I tried to draw walks. I was a very, very bad batter. I was fine on defense, and once I got on base, I could feel like I could run pretty well, but a very, very poor hitter. Slap hitter, trying to hit it where they ain't. I would have been the guy that if a third baseman looked a little heavy, a little slow-footed, I would have tried to bunt at him, and then it would have been a foot race. There's John Farrell, Chuck Krim, Glenn Davis, another MVP's card, Keith Kiki Jones, Dennis Cook, Jeff Weatherby, Jeff Musselman, Damon Berryhill, Ron Hassey, Tom Browning, Danny Darwin, Dan Schatzsitter, Ken Oberkfell, Kurt Schilling, rookie card, Wally Whitehurst, and Glenn Allen Hill. Glenn Allen Hill, Glenn Allen is his first name. He has no middle name. So I guess maybe they left a space out and he was supposed to be Glenn first name, Allen middle name, Hill. But he's just Glenn Allen, no middle name, Hill. The more you know. Yeah, you know, good strategy, trying to bunt and beat my way onto base. You know, they say hit it where they ain't, but if you can also hit it where they are and just be faster than the baseball, getting to first, it's still a hit. It's not glamorous. I mean, it was ugly baseball. But it worked sometimes. There's Vince Coleman rounding the bases. Wade Boggs swinging the bat just like it should be for both of those guys. Dwight Smith, male MVP. Mo Vaughn, there's a guy that deserved a longer career. He was a good hitter in the day. Bill Spires, Darren Jackson, Mark Knudsen, Herman Gonzalez. I don't know. Gary Pettis, Rick Cerrone, Chad Kruger, Rick Dempsey, Rick Leach, Dean Palmer, rookie card, and Kevin Moss again. Dean Palmer, one of those guys that always seemed like he was ready to hit 60 home runs in a season, but also strike out 250 times. Am I going to do junk wax hockey or football? I might. They weren't really sports that I followed growing up. I was really a baseball fan and baseball collector back in the day. Again, in Ohio, where I grew up, we didn't have pro hockey. I watched a lot of hockey on ESPN, like the Chris Chelios Blackhawks were kind of how I learned about hockey. And then football, just not really something I super got into growing up, but I wouldn't be against it. Well, again, maybe we'll see if packs become affordable or available. Glenn Braggs, Mike Felder, Randy Milligan. Are there years of hockey or football that would be awesome to open or to see open? I would love to get those recommendations, and I can keep my eyes open for that kind of stuff. Norm Charlton on the back end of the Nasty Boys era there. Roger Salkeld is our first-round draft pick there with the white borders. Raphael Belliard, Doug Drabeck, Frank Viola, Bobby Bonilla, Terry Steinbach, Harold Reynolds, Cecilio Guante, Bobby Thigpen, Mark Thurmond, Bernie Williams rookie card, nice, and Gary Eve. Yeah, just never really got into, I liked the Browns as a football team. I was super sad when John Elway kept them out of the Super Bowl so many times in the late 80s. But as for collecting football cards, when of a certain age, I had limited funds, let's say, and that money went to baseball cards more than anything. I didn't really get into the idea of PCing a particular player, an individual, until I saw the '89 World Series, watched those Giants play, and really liked what I saw from Will Clark. So he's been my guy since about then. Mike Boddicker, Jim Presley, Lee Smith, Pete Smith, no relation, Jody Davis, Devon White, Kyle Abbott, Jay Buhner, Rick Aguilera, Team Beard, Tim Tuffle, Dennis Rasmussen, Tim Belcher, Carmelo Castillo, Bo Diaz, John Dobson, and Greg Smith. Coming down to the last of it here, our last few packs of 1990 score. We found the shoulder pads card that we were after. We found a couple other Bo Jackson cards. And we got a nice junior. I got my Will Clark Dream Team card. Still keeping my eyes open for the Will Clark basic issue. Hopefully we'll pull one of those here in the last couple of packs. There's Alejandro Pena, Mike Felder, Randy Milligan, Norm Charlton again. There's Barry Larkin, Lee Mazzilli, Gene Nelson, Rick Reed, Steve Sachs, Doug Jones, Bill Wegman, John Moses, Tim Rock Raines. There's Eric Yelding, Billy Hatcher, and Andy Bennis. As we get down to the last four packs, I want to remind everybody there will be a giveaway. If you are a subscriber to the channel and you are a published or public or not private or whatever they call it, if you're a subscriber and I can see that you subscribe, you could win this very box of 1990 Donruss baseball cards. I haven't even opened the flap yet. They're that untouched. And this win instantly version, there's a couple of versions of the box you can find, but the win instantly ones are the ones where you're more likely to find the errors, the variations, the things that make this set kind of fun and even worthwhile to rip. Otherwise, it's just pure trash. There's nothing in there, guys. Come on. But if you are a subscriber and I can see that you are subscribed, I'm going to get into the system, and at the end of this recording, pull the subscriber list. So if you haven't subscribed, do so if you want to be eligible to win. I'll randomize. I'll make a little video tomorrow where I randomize the list, pull a number, and then that's who's going to win the box. Kevin McReynolds, Rob Dibble, Jeff Russell, Greg Harris, National League MVP from 1969. Willie McCovey, wouldn't have guessed. Mark Langston is our dream team left-handed pitcher. There's Dave Johnson, Mike Smithson, Joey Bell again, Barry Larkin again, Mike Jeffcoat, Gino Petralli, David Cohn, Steve Lake, Ellis Burks, Delino DeShields, and Gerald Clark. These big heavy scissors helping me get these stretchy plastic packs open. My poor fingertips couldn't take much of this stretching. Look at this. These bags just want to stretch. They don't want to give. Whatever technology like Glad uses for the stretchy kitchen trash bags, Score discovered in 1990. There's Chuck Krim, Glenn Braggs, Walt Weiss taking a leap. Yeah, Hunter, Ozzie Smith, one of those guys that is just a legend in the game. Very easy to fall in love with him as a player, his style, the success those Cardinals teams had. Great guy, you know, National Leaguer, so I never really got to see him play living near Cleveland like I did. But always saw the highlights. One of those guys where you couldn't look away when This Week in Baseball came on because you're just waiting to see Ozzie Smith do a backflip. Lights Out at Candlestick, our highlight card. Black and white, appropriately. I remember where I was when this happened, trying to watch the game on a little tiny TV. There you go. Yeah, Entertainment Paradise, I hear you. eBay is where I go. I'm lucky that there are a couple card shops around where I live. There's a really nice one in northeastern Ohio near where my dad still lives. This is not sponsored content. It's called Triple Play Vintage on Oakwood Drive in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And if you are anywhere near there, they've got vintage wax, you know, cello packs, wax packs, boxes at very, very good prices. But otherwise, you know, eBay, maybe even some Facebook groups are good places to find cheap, and I'm going to say cheap, like 20 bucks a box, junk wax. You just end up paying for shipping. There's Doug Drabeck, Frank Viola, Greg Brock, Terry Steinbach, Harold Reynolds, Cecilio Guante. There's Mike Smith, another poorly laid out horizontal card. Facebook Marketplace, I've browsed, but it's either like guys who kind of know they've got something good, but they want like, you know, it's ungraded, but they want the PSA 10 price for it, or it's just junk and they want, you know, $1 for a stack of 1991 Donruss Commons. Another Dave Justice rookie, and Terry Jorgensen. If you've got success stories from Facebook Marketplace, leave them in the comments. I'd be really interested to see what other people are finding. But for me, it's kind of like guys are like, I know what I've got. You know what you think you had 30 years ago. What you've got now is nowhere near that. Or they see like a PSA 10 sold for it and they don't understand the whole concept of grading and slabbing. So, you know, Jim Presley, Lee Smith, Tom Foley. We're coming down to it. I need that Will Clark. There's Jody Davis, Devon White, Dennis Powell, Mitch Williams, Rick Aguilera again, Tim Tuffle again, Wally Joyner, Rick Dempsey, Rick Leach, Bo Diaz, Jose De Jesus, Mark Lemke, old Two Hats Mark. Sorry, it's going to go with Eddie. I can't go with two hats for Mark. And Randy Nosek. Last pack. This is it. Thank you for sticking with me. This has been the 100th subscriber live stream celebration as we open an entire box of 1990 Score. This kind of reminds me why two packs at a time is plenty for me. But subscribe. You could win the box of 1990 Donruss. And thanks for watching. We do 2 packs of junk every day. There's even a separate video for today where we did 2 packs as a preview of this box rip. And I do appreciate it, you know, all of those. Greg Gagnon, can you get Beckett's anymore? I think Beckett is, it's just like super, super modern cards. And if it goes back anything older than maybe 2000, it's going to list maybe the 5 or 10 most valuable cards in a set. And then the very older cards, for actual pricing, honestly, I think looking at eBay sold listings is your best gauge for what individual cards are worth. I don't know. Jamie Moyer, Willie Wilson. But I'm not in it for investment. I honestly could not care much less what these cards are actually worth, because if I like it, it's going to stay in my personal collection. I'm not here trying to build packages to flip or anything like that. Rick Russell, Tim Cruz, Bobby Thigpen, Mark Thurmond, Pete Harnish. But I did subscribe to Beckett back in the day. All right, we'll take a second junior. If I can't get a Will Clark, I'll take 2 juniors. And we end with Rich Monteleone and Randy McCammett. So pretty good results here. We got a couple juniors. We got the Bo Jackson Dream Team. We got the Bo Jackson shoulder pads card that we were after. So winner, winner. We got it. I subscribed to Beckett back in the day. I used to really stick hard to what those values were when I was trading with my friends, trying to get even return on a trade, but not so much anymore. If I just buy what I like, keep what I like. This has been the 100th subscriber live stream box rip 1990 score. We found the Bo. We got a couple juniors. Thank you for sticking with me. We'll keep doing 2 packs a day of junk wax baseball cards until, as I like to say, as long as they keep printing it, we'll keep ripping it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the comments. Good night.